Welcome back to TSP. I am Dr. Evil Genius, and the white man hiding behind the black square is Captain Paul.
Yep, just like Joy Taylor. It's an endless black void. So, I'm
Oh, oh my God. Wow.
not wrong.
Well, nobody watches that channel anyway, so it's okay.
Uh,
Wow, that was savage, Cap.
listen, that was absolutely savage, but let's just, call it what
Wait,
it
wait, wait, wait,
is.
wait. Are you currently right now inside Joy Taylor? Are we seeing
Oh,
in real time?
help! Help! I can't release. It's a deep cavern. There's been plenty of men in here, especially with top power. Help! Help! Yo,
Wow, what? Yeah, this is great.
yeah.
So Captain Paul and I are are big sport are big sports fans that we've watched some of the debate shows in the past. Obviously, the whole cold pizza thing from
hmm
way back in the day, which was the first time I ever saw Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
And then they had the whole thing with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, which caused me to stop watching ESPN. And obviously, the Fox saw that ESPN was getting a lot of ratings with sports debate shows, so
Yeah.
they went and added a few of their own. So the first time I saw Joy Taylor was when she was the pretty girl in the back during Colin Cowherd's midday show on Fox
Yeah.
Sports 1. That was the first time I ever saw her.
Yeah. On the herd.
Yes, on The Herd. And I thought that was a pretty good show, personally. On some of the other channels that I've seen, they unearthed a clip of Colin Cowherd making a Freudian slip
Mm.
when he was supposed to be talking about two cities. He said to
Titties.
I've been laughing at that for a day and a half. So, as far as what you know about the situation, Cap, because the woman that is Farhadi, I think her last name is, she is making some claims about some of the extracurricular goings-ons
Yeah.
behind the scenes as Fox Sports One. She makes a lot of accusations about Skip Bayless, about the executive vice president of content.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
there's a lot of
Dixon.
accusations. Yeah, a lot of yeah. Well, she got that dick. There's a
Hey,
lot of
yo.
yeah. There's
Well,
a
not the
lot of
one making the complaint. The woman making the complaint claims that
yeah. I mean, but let's just keep it real. There's a lot of accusations. And listen, it's all alleged, so we don't prevent a lawsuit. But some juicy details came out. Skip Bayless. I
juicy
mean,
like the
the,
taste.
Skip Bayless kind of getting put into this whole quagmire as well. I mean, he was the face of FS1 before they kind of departed ways after that whole debacle with Shannon Sharp. It was just kind of the writing was on the wall. And Joy Taylor, I mean, she again, yeah, she was on the herd. She even was on a morning show on FS1. She has been given some opportunities to have her own show or kind of host her own show. She has a very unique voice when it comes to sports. And, let's just call it what it is. She's an attractive woman and kind of, according to this report or accusation, used that to her advantage. So, when it comes to Joy Taylor, besides spreading joy around FS1, I'm not completely surprised by this because, quite frankly, aside from her looks, it's not like she's an amazing on air talent, in my opinion. I think very replaceable. I think, might sound like an ass when I say this, but she definitely used her looks to her advantage. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But with this report coming out, would it be really shocking if it was true? Not really. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I really, really thought about it, and I did a live stream on my personal channel about this, and I looked at some of the phrasing, particularly referencing Skip Bayless, where the kind of things that Skip Bayless said to this woman lines up with the kind of thoughtless things that he would say on the air. And I think that many of us would agree that Skip Bayless has a problem reading the room. He's not a person who's very socially calibrated. And he said a lot of things on the air, going back to his disrespectful and repeated changing of Russell Westbrook's name. After Russell Westbrook appealed to him directly and said, hey, that's my family name. Please do not continue to call me the kind of names that you're calling me.
Yeah.
And he continued to keep doing it, calling him Russell Westbrook and all other things, right?
Yeah, I mean, even,
he said
even
about Shannon Sharp to his face about his, I guess, his Hall of Fame credentials.
But I mean, to be honest, Bayless has been doing this since the early parts of his career. Wrote a book with some accusations or some conversations regarding Aikman being gay at the time back in the day in a book. Skip Bayless is a well-known troll.
Troy Clay Aiken.
But Troy Aikman, the accusations, but when it comes down to it, is he's been known as a troll and a guy that will say anything for views, attention, and clicks. And, to be fair, for the most part in his career, he's benefited off of it. But it seems like people are kind of tired of that old song and dance, and that's why he's not really having the same success of his counterparts when he is shifted to independent media. Because it's just, unless it's propped up and pushed by a big mainstream network, it's just kind of meh. But
did you hear what he said to the lady?
No.
In the complaint?
Oh, in the complaint, yeah, it was I'm drawing a blank out.
Yeah, so the woman was trying to kind of push him back towards being a professional, and as she was rebuffing his advances, she asked him, "Well, Skip, aren't you married?" And his response is, "Well, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your father have 3 or 4 wives?" And her response was, "Well, my father's dead."
That's crazy.
Like,
Skip, that's crazy. That's wild work. That is wild work if true. That is crazy. That is.
But the thing is, does that sound like something that Skip Bayless would say?
I get what you're saying, but there's a stark difference between, calling LeBron like the biggest crybaby of all time or calling Russell Westbrook to being like, I know you want this dick. Like, your daddy's had 3 wives. You want to be my extra fucking secret affair. I mean,
the dude kept going at her, Cap, after she said, "Hey, I might have cancer." And his response was like, "Okay, well, let me give you some of this $1.5 for that box." Like,
he's like, "Let me give you some of this radiation treatment." Like, that's crazy.
Like, dude, the dude has proven time and time again that he is just not very well socially calibrated. So when I look at the totality of his advances and the way that he blew up, especially when he accused her of being physical with Shannon Sharp, when he was going through all of those problems with Shannon Sharp where he could not stop disrespecting Shannon Sharp. A lot of what the woman is saying in the timelines, she's got a ton of receipts. I'm inclined, and you know me, I am not a believe all women guy.
Yeah, you are.
By any sense of imagination.
Don't let it fool you. Don't let it fool you. He's a blue pill guy.
I look at like the way that this lawsuit, all 50-something pages of it is set up. She did what pretty much everybody in the workplace should be doing. Anytime anything of significance happens in the workplace, negative or positive, you need to recap it. You know, put it in a file on your computer somewhere with the date and time that it happened. I got this commendation from my boss on this day. I got, I achieved this in the workplace on that day. So when it comes time to get a raise, you got a list of things that went down that said, this is what I'm worth when it comes time to pay me. If something bad happens in the workplace and you've got dates and times and you've got quotes verbatim and you're able to show a pattern of action by the person who's harassing you in the workplace, and you have a pattern of inaction from the people who are in charge of those people who are involving themselves in these inappropriate actions in the workplace, then when it comes time for the lawsuit, there really isn't a whole lot for them to stand on. So a lot of people are asking, Kat, what woman do you know is turning down a session for $1.5 million to basically give up less than what Meek Mill gave to P. Diddy?
I mean, listen, when it comes to it, right, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. There's probably some truth into these accusations. And I mean, is Skip probably a dog? I mean, sure. Is he socially awkward? Sure. I think he, quite frankly, was a big nerd growing up, and he's in a very rare position of power. And we have seen how all these weirdo nerds act when they get that power. So it doesn't really surprise me. I think, quite frankly, his moral integrity has always been a question mark when it comes to Skip Bayless. You can claim Christianity, but if you don't act like a Christian, in my opinion, shut the fuck up about that. Right? That's what I say with a lot of these politicians as well. Don't claim Christianity when you're all bombing motherfuckers like crazy. So, kind of going to Joy Taylor though, right?
Wait, before you go there, because there's a very interesting discussion. I don't want to let that go. What you just said about weirdos with power or what have you, right? I'm gonna give you some pushback, Kat. I'm gonna give you some pushback on that. And this is going to lead into the Joy Taylor thing because, I have a problem with the double standards that we have in society that go against both men and women. But you just mentioned the one that goes against men. We call them weirdos. We call them people, as soon as you get a little bit of power, you act like this, that, and the third, right? But let me offer a devil's advocate viewpoint and then see what you think, okay?
All right, Sandusky.
You don't remember that? Ohio?
No.
Because you ain't talking about that other one.
Go ahead, sorry.
So we tell young men since the beginning of civilization that you're worthless and you don't deserve access to love, affection, or physical interaction with women until you work decades to build up some sort of power, visibility, access to resources. They tell you you don't get any of this stuff, right? They say you have to be one of the top, and then you can get blah, 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 right? So when you see the guy like Dixon, who not only is accused of having a sexual relationship with Joy Taylor, but also accused of fondling the complainant at a company party. When you look at that guy, he's not the most physically attractive guy in the eyes of most women, and Skip, definitely not. He looks like a wrinkled up Smeagol. So when you look at these guys that have limited options that worked tirelessly for decades, because regardless of whether you like Skip Bayless or not, nobody could say that Skip Bayless didn't work stupid hard to get to where he got to. Right. Now, do you think it's fair, Kat, to say, oh, you're a this or that if you use your power, when everything that we've heard since we were kids is you don't get none of that stuff until you get the power, until you get the money?
No, I think it's completely fine calling them a weirdo because it doesn't. I understand what you're kind of trying to lead with this logic. Oh, money, power, all this stuff. And I actually think that's more to come with parenting and how poor the younger generation and even our generation has been taught when it comes to romance and affection, all that shit. Quite frankly, a lot of things people aren't willing to kind of sacrifice and work together at the low points together, right? But kind of more speaking, just to kind of stay on topic. That's a whole conversation we could really get deep into, and maybe we'll make a different video on that. But kind of talking about Skip Bayless and the power. Yeah, I believe he's a weirdo because he understands that he is the guy at FS1. He was handpicked from ESPN to come in, lead this FS1 thing. He knows he has a massive amount of power, and he's let's just say what it is, man. He's fucking weird, right? He's just a weird guy. And outside of the sports realm, would any chick be like, "Yo, I want to hop on his knob like corn on the cob"? No,
but that's the point, Cap. That's the point I'm making. Every guy has to find his niche in his way to get to that place to get what he wants. All of this stuff about he's the man in this environment. Well, that's the point.
No, but let me finish. And I can understand where you're coming from that, right? And my biggest complaint though is when the chick says not interested, real men be like, "Yo, whatever. Plenty of fish in the sea.
Agreed.
Plenty of fish in the fucking sea." Also, Skip's married, right? So this is to me, right? And whether maybe they have some Kennedy shit going on where it's open marriage, which I kind of doubt, whatever. But he's married.
I disagree with you on that point. I think they had an arrangement.
So, but let's say they don't have an arrangement. We don't know, right? I'm kind of, if you're Christian, there is no open marriage. That doesn't work.
I mean, there's a lot of lip service going on, Cap, and you know that because of your disdain for the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
the Roman Catholic Church here in the United States. There's a lot of young boys that can testify that the dude in the robe is, taking off the robe.
Technically, he was married to God and married to them cheeks. But no, cheeks. That's a whole problem in the Catholic Church. But I don't want to hear someone use like, "Oh, Christianity," because that's what he that's his big part of his identity. And then you're like, "Yo, I'm gonna be an adulterer and cheat on my wife," right? So I'm gonna kind of go under the assumption that it wasn't just kind of like, "Oh, let that shit slide," because that goes against his moral code.
Well, let me tell you this.
That goes against his moral code. And I'll say, to me, it just, you come off as a creep. You come off as weird because first off, you didn't just kind of back away, you accept the rejection and move on. And then you just go against your own moral code for what? A one-night thing? Maybe a side piece? I don't know. Just, it's weird to me.
Well, I'll put it to you like this, Cap. Okay. Let me ask you this question. Do you know any woman named Ernestine that is younger than 140?
No, I don't.
That's number one, okay? Yeah. So when you look at Skip Bayless...
It's a classic grandma name, to be fair.
No, that is a that is an ancestor name, okay? There is no human being named Ernestine under the age of 140. I'm just gonna say that, right? So if you look at Skip Bayless and you look at his physical composition, this is a guy who is in supreme physical shape for his age, supreme, which tells me that he's on TRT. That dude is on testosterone replacement therapy, and those therapies bring your testosterone level back to where it was in your 20s. And do you know what men in their 20s like to do? They like to do things. So I believe that Ernestine retired her uterus 80 years ago and was like, "Listen, you do what you want. Don't embarrass the family," because, quoting Robot Chicken, her nudities are all bunched up and dusty. Okay? So I believe they had an arrangement that did not include public embarrassment, because if you look at the way that the allegations kind of characterize how Skip went about it, the dude was going about this pretty much in the open. So it wasn't like, he was like, behind, No, like he was pretty open about it in front of other people.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Weinstein when his shit was going on. Like
and let me tell you, man. Let me tell you, because we're about to get into the Joy Taylor part, so I wanted to save this, but we'll come back to this point. The accusations against Joy Taylor herself actually gets me to question the allegations and the convictions against Weinstein. So you wanted to get into the Joy Taylor part of it, right? Because we do agree about Skip Bayless. The first time a woman shows that she's not interested, you need to disappear like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Gone. Done.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, we don't play that here for an abundance of reasons. There's a lot of good reasons. As soon as a woman, even if you think she's playing hard to get, as soon as the word no comes, disappear. And there's a lot of good reasons to do that. So we definitely completely wholeheartedly agree on that. As far as the whole Christianity thing, very few Christians actually live like Christians. So I'm not going to ding him for something that most people claiming Christian, they don't live by the ideology anyway. So
but don't claim it then. Don't claim it.
But then millions of Americans should stop claiming it.
Yeah, but I'm fine with that. Stop claiming Christianity when you're a fucking scumbag. Sorry. That's my...
Well, dude, that is a refreshing take to hear from somebody who's a hardcore devout. I wouldn't say you're hardcore devout, but you are pretty... You're on the serious side of Catholicism. So I got to give you a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, I just unfortunately didn't survive, Diddy's house, Like, I didn't... Unfortunately, my cheeks weren't clapped, so I don't have that traumatic backstory. But continue.
Hey, yo. But Miss Taylor spreading joy around FS1. Fair or foul?
That's fair.
Why do you think it's fair? Well, why do you think it's acceptable for her to spread joy? I mean, listen, joy to the streets.
It was Christmas time. Got to spread the fucking stockings and make sure people are happy. I mean, no, all jokes aside, that's foul. But to be honest, though, really think about it. Are you surprised? Because she's had these marriages that have been broken up with, seeing other guys and things of that nature. That's been the rumor mill. And she kind of has, it comes to promiscuous history with her. Mm-hmm. And she's now, I think, in her mid-30s, I think, at this point, not married.
I think she might be older than that now.
Yeah, she might be older than that. She carries herself a certain way. And whether you agree with what I'm going to say or not, she dresses a certain way. I'm not really completely surprised. Like, she's not the type of woman, right, that kind of just saves herself for one man. I mean, she's out there on the gram trying to get as much attention. She's out there on national TV just with, those big things hanging out, right? So she's 37. 37. So am I really surprised? No, because the way she carries herself, I'm like, yeah. I mean, if she wasn't a pretty woman with good sized bazungas, yeah, she probably doesn't get the same following. Let's just call it what it is. Like nobody listens to a Joy Taylor take and's like, yeah, that's a great take. Nah, you're like these simps got their dick in one hand, looking on the screen, beating their meat. Like, yeah, that's right, Taylor. That's right. Like that's just how it is, man. Let's just keep it honest. Let's keep it real here. And listen, salute to her. She's found a success in a lane. That's fine. But the way she carries herself, I'm like, no, I'm not really freaking surprised. So I think it's a bad role model for young women. I think it's actually kind of sad, right? And I don't want to hear none of this fucking women empowerment bullshit. Like, you just laid down for a man. How strong and independent are you if you got to lay on your back with your legs spread to get that promotion? You're not really that much of a feminist now, are you? Sorry.
Ah, wow, that is quite the take. That is really hard to argue. She claims that, she works extra hard.
Oh, she does.
She claims she works extra hard, and you have to be outstanding at what you do.
Oh, she's outstanding.
In order to, make it in the business. And, going back to the first time I saw her when she was the pretty face that sat behind the couch on the Colin Cowherd show, which was remember that really interesting back and forth that she had with LeVar Ball. And LeVar Ball was sitting on the couch and like like he tied his back to her and he turned around and was like going like directly at her, and he was basically saying like, yo, know your role and shut your mouth, right?
Yeah.
And then she tried to, get all feministy, with him. I've never, even from back in those days, the only thing that she did was, yes, Colin Cowherd from behind the couch, from the desk behind the couch, way across the studio. I've never said, wow, Joy Taylor, definitely, whoa, that take. I never really quite thought about it that way. She just said, oh, yes, Colin, yeah, And then when she went to the desk, to go with, what was it, Acho?
Acho.
And Skip and all. I've never heard anybody say, yo, that Joy Taylor, man, like her understanding of what's going on, never having competed in any athletic endeavor herself. Nobody ever said, wow, she definitely has some inside information and insight that, wow, like we couldn't have got that anywhere else. Never once heard it. So I don't want to hear all of this about how you had to be better. Joy, you had to look better. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that, because since the beginning of humankind, women who look better get better outcomes. She kept her body in shape. She kept her face looking presentable. And her body is incredible looking. So I don't really have a problem with her sleeping to the top under the circumstances. I would rather men get those jobs, because there are men out there that have a better understanding of sports than Joy Taylor, who is not in that seat. So I would rather hear an opinion from somebody who actually did it, even if it's an unattractive woman who has. You want to put Rebecca Lobo in that seat, who actually played professionally? She was there since the inception of the WNBA. I would rather her be in that seat than Joy Taylor, because at least she has a lot of experience in being a competitive professional athlete. And she can give us insights into the psyche of someone who is competitive. But Joy Taylor, I've never heard anything really great coming from her. But here's the thing, Kat. She slept her way to the top. I can't be mad at her. She was willing to sell her soul for some shekels. I've got no problem with that. Here's the problem that I have with it, Kat. According to the allegations, Joy Taylor said that she let Mr. Dixon, the executive vice president of content at Fox Sports 1, she let him clap them cheeks, right? And then said, well, if anybody threatens my position, I'll just say that he essayed me. And this is when I look back at the Weinstein allegations, and now I've got some questions. Because now you have a woman saying, this woman told me to take off my clothes and give my body to somebody for profit because she was doing it. And if anything goes wrong, just claim that the man forced himself on you. Because
now listen,
she knows, Joy Taylor knows the possibility that the allegations will be thoroughly enough investigated to find out if there was an actual SA situation. They're just going to take her at her word, and she's going to win a massive lawsuit or settlement, and the person that she accuses is going to go to prison with little or no evidence of it.
So this is the thing, right? And I understand where you're going with that logic. I would be a little bit leery of going down that wormhole, because then it becomes like you can make false equivalencies to every single situation.
But it is equivalent. People who profited from getting movie deals are saying that Weinstein traded the movie deals for their box.
Right, but
And they're claiming
what
that
I'm
he took
saying,
it without their
what
without
I'm
their
saying,
consent. Now she told the woman what the blueprint was.
yeah, but she kind of got the blueprint after, like, again, I'll say this. I just don't want to go down that wormhole because that gets into a whole fucking quagmire. But
But
let's
it
just
is a
speak.
quagmire, Cap, and
But
we have to call
speaking,
it out.
I agree. But speaking on this situation alone, with her saying that allegedly, it's like, again, I don't want to hear no feminist bullshit anymore. I don't want to hear, women in the industry, women get together. I'm like, come on, shut the fuck up. Like, we all know what it is. And it's just a lot of attractive young women have used their level of beauty to elevate to positions they do not belong in. And it makes me respect more those young women that maybe aren't conventionally attractive or like the
Mm-hmm.
hottest thing in the room, that have really grinded and kind of found and paved themselves a way in a real respectable manner. It
Yep.
makes me appreciate them far more. And it kind of showcases that, at least in my opinion, women, especially in this type of industry that you have a lot of male eyes on, have life on easy mode.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's it's just
While claiming they work
absolute,
harder than everybody else.
which they don't. I mean, the only thing she worked hard on was like making sure she didn't sprain anything when she was getting like crazy. So I mean, let's just call it what it is. I don't want to
I'm
hear
pretty
about
sure
that.
she was just starfishing anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is gonna be a hot take, but this is the home of the cold truth and the hot take. There are a lot of guys, as some women admit to this. The hotter the woman, the less adept she is at the skills of the physical interaction.
Yeah.
Because when you're hot, you just kind of just have to lay there, and that gets
Take
the
it.
job done. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I don't know if she was ever in danger of spraining anything.
I mean, fair, but I just, quite frankly, enough of this feminine empowerment bullshit. I want to hear from the actual women that really worked hard in their industry and didn't have to suck and slurp and burp their way to the top.
And the thing is, the complainant seems to be exactly that type of woman because,
Yeah.
the way that she talks about how she kind of distanced herself from Joy after all of the suggestions that she should just, go along to get along. The way that she kept trying to keep her job and trying to keep in the good graces of people because she didn't want to sound judgmental of Joy because then she would lose an ally in the work environment. So
Yeah.
she's a single mother, which, I mean, she claims to be Muslim. Where's your husband? Right? So if we want to call out Skip on his, fake thing with the religion, unless she had a husband that passed away and she's a widow, if that is not the situation, and you're supposed to be a Muslim woman, but you've got a kid and no husband, well, we've got an issue with that as well. So we have to call that out. But the way that she carried herself in the workplace, she kept it professional. She wasn't looking to get ahead on anything but her hairdressing skills. And so I got to give that woman a lot of props. She worked hard. She tried to dodge the minefields of what is the exact definition of what a hostile work environment is. And so I don't ever want to make it seem like women don't go through anything. But there is a clear difference between the complainant and the defendant. The female defendant is the person that is making the workplace more hostile. She is trying to circumvent the whole egalitarianism of it by using her box to jump ahead of other people. Meanwhile, the complainant, the plaintiff in this case, kept it professional, did her job, and was just doing anything that she could to earn money the honest way. So there's really not a whole lot of bad that I could say about her if the allegations are true.
It is. I mean, kind of my closing thoughts on it is frankly, am I surprised at Joy Taylor? No. I mean, it is what it is. How you present to yourself to the world is genuinely how you'll be received. And
Have you listened to her podcast or some of her comments on her podcast? Because you don't care, right?
Genuinely, I've tried to listen to some of her like content outside of it, but it's just so fucking dry. It's just.
Well, she's very open about her lack of moral ethics. She's very open about it.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not surprised. So I don't. Again, and this is my biggest gripe with it. Don't claim feminism and how you had to work harder than a bunch of men when that's just not the truth. And as for Skip Bayless, I mean, the keeper of the crypt himself.
He does look like the crypt keeper. He does.
I mean, I'm not. Listen. Am I overly like if it's true? I'm like, yo. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I think guys that are put into this position and the way he carries himself, yeah, he would probably come off as a fucking strange dude that, yeah, I'm not, it is what it is with that. I think Skip Bayless reaps what he sowed, and, it is kind of, it's intriguing in a way how far he's fallen from grace since Shannon Sharp has left FS1.
Mm-hmm. And Shannon Sharp was really clear. He's like, listen, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Nah, my name ain't in that. Nope. Don't talk about me. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I kept it professional. And
Shannon Sharp was too busy kind of setting up fake sex scenes on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of weird. But I will say this, right? A lot of people were trying to make it seem like, Shannon likes men because of the way his legs move after double hip replacement, right? And while he was hanging out, with his stylist, we're going to just keep it to that, right? Mm-hmm. There was nothing in the workplace that suggested to anybody that Shannon liked anything other than women, because Skip was really, really mad. Oh, I see your body language when you look at Skip. I know you're letting him smash. Like Skip, man, I lost a lot of respect for Skip in all of this.
I mean, if that's true, but I would say this with Shannon though. Can we also kind of agree that shit was cringe? Like, oh yeah, mysteriously goes online where you have to press a bunch of different prompts.
Yeah. Cameron was like, listen, you gotta press 17 different buttons to go on live. What are you talking about? That doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah, so it's like, and then I've noticed on YouTube or on his channel, he'll have that Sparks ad play. Or
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so fucking formulated and that's plotted out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what's your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts is this: you can only have it one way, Miss Taylor. You can only have it one way. You can either spread joy to the world.
She is.
Or you can claim to be a victim. You can't do both. And the fact that Joy Taylor had the unmitigated gall, shout out to Stephen A. Smith, to actually say this out loud to somebody. Oh, we'll just level a false accusation if I don't get what I want. You just told on yourself, and you told on a lot of different women. And again, and I've been saying this for a long time, when women make accusations and they turn out to be false, the Duke lacrosse team, Johnny Depp, the Marvel guy.
Where's Malika Andrews on this story, by the way?
Malika Andrews, all of the people who are being accused are white and female. Nah, she doesn't have an opinion. Sorry.
Just making sure. I knew if it was a black male, she'd have a different opinion. But
yeah, okay. So Malika Andrews doesn't have an opinion on this, but you, the viewer, we want your opinion in the comment section down below, and we know that you guys are going to have a whole lot to say about this one. If there's any further information that comes out from this saga, and there will be, because either they're going to have to put a settlement out there super duper fast for a lot more than $1.5 million, or we're going to hear a lot of juicy details, juicier than the fun bags on Miss Joy Taylor's chest. Comment section down below. Tell us what you think. and we will definitely see you on the next one.
Gotta love these gold digging whores.